Hey there, boils and ghouls. I'm Mr. Macabre, and welcome back to my movie library. Yes, one of my viewers asked me if I would consider doing a series of videos like this, and to do like my top 10 favorites of some of my boutique labels, Arrow, Scream Factory, Kino, probably like Criterion, Vinegar Syndrome, and stuff. And I do like that idea. I do like the idea of doing it, and of course, if viewers ask me to make a certain kind of video, I don't mind doing it. And so, yeah, I'm happy to do it. And, we'll go ahead and we'll get started. And, yeah, that is something, though, too, I've been thinking about here lately is, well, you guys, if you've been watching my going through the boxes of movies, you notice that, most of the time I have a lot of my stuff not sorted by, like, boutique labels, but, most of the time just sorted, like, alphabetically. And I may be doing that here in the very near future. I'm probably going to turn around and start doing that, like sectioning off the boutique label stuff from the regular stuff, because yeah, it's like it does make it kind of difficult when you're trying to look through this. That's one of the that was the thing. I was actually asked days ago to make a video like this. And the problem is just going through all the boxes of movies to look for, the titles and like, okay, which ones am I going to pick? Which ones am I not going to pick? And stuff like that. So there is a very good possibility I'm probably going to be doing that in the very near future. Just kind of sorting stuff, it's like, okay, these boxes are going to house my Vinegar Syndromes. These are going to house my Arrows, my Scream Factories, so on. So that's probably a project I'm going to be undertaking here in the pretty near future. So I am sorry it took a few days to get this video done, but yeah, it was just trying to go through everything and see what I got, and then narrow it down to my 10. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get started, and some of these, I'm gonna be some of these my choices are gonna be like two included, but that's because they're part of a franchise. It's not so much like, oh, it's a tie, but it's just because they're part of a franchise. That's why they're being included. Okay, so anyways, starting off with my number 10, we're doing my Arrow. You already know that from the title of the video. We're doing my Arrow, my top 10 Arrows so far. Number 10, we're going to start off, we're going to do Life Force. This is definitely a favorite of mine, great Tobe Hooper movie. And I was really, really bummed out when I got the Scream Factory 4K of it. I was just irritated by the Scream Factory 4K. It was just a theatrical trailer, and it was like the picture quality wasn't even all that great. And then when I found out that Arrow was going to do a 4K of it, and it's going to be a 2-disc set, you're going to get both, the international cut and the theatrical cut on 4K. You're going to get plenty of bonus features. And so, yeah, I jumped on this right away, and I don't regret it. I know some people will probably be like, well, the imprint 4K is probably a lot better, but, I'm not disagreeing with that, but just right now, this is what I got, so I'm very happy with this. So just to finally get, this great Tobe Hooper sci-fi horror classic with both cuts of the movie on 4K, plus all the bonus features, that was really a godsend. So I was so happy about that. So number 10 is going to be Life Force. Number 9, this is going to be one of those deals. I'm going to be holding up two titles, but that's because they're part of a franchise. We've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. I know some people weren't really thrilled with the 4Ks of these. I was ecstatic. I was so happy to get them, particularly the beginning, because I really, for the longest time, I had Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning on DVD, had the unrated, and I really, really wanted a better version of it. And in America, New Line Cinema did put out a Blu-ray, but it was the theatrical cut, and it had the bonus features on it. And then in Canada, the company Alliance, they put out a Blu-ray that had just it was bare bones, but it had the the unrated cut of the movie on it. And so finally, it comes out, hey, wait a minute, Scream Factor, or not Scream, Arrow's going to put out a 4K. It's going to have both cuts of the movie on 4K, plenty of bonus features. and two, as a companion piece, you're going to get the remake. So it's nice to have both, because these two Chainsaw Massacre movies are kind of their own thing. They really are separate from, the original Chainsaw Massacre movies. I do enjoy both of these movies. I really like these. And I admit, I really didn't, particularly the remake, I really was set up to hate it because the original Chainsaw Massacre is one of my absolute all-time favorite movies. I could watch that movie any time of the day or night. I could pop that movie on, watch it right now. It's one of my go-to horror movies. Definitely a comfort horror movie for me. And so I really was set up to not like the remake, but it turns out actually I really do enjoy the remake. It's really good. I like the direction that they took with it. I do have to admit, my opinion, R. Lee Ermey kind of steals both of these movies. May he rest in peace. But I like what they did with it. I like the direction that they took it in. I don't love it better than the original. I know, I mentioned this before. Like I do know people who they like the remake more than the original. But it's interesting because they don't like it because they think it's a better movie than the original. They like it because it's easier to watch than the original. To them, the original Chainsaw Massacre is just way too scary. They can't watch it. It feels too real to them. It's too unsettling. Where this, watching the whole movie, they're like, I know that I'm watching a Hollywood movie. The whole time I'm watching, I'm fully aware that I'm watching a movie. It's got your kind of traditional horror movie score. I'm seeing, faces that I recognize. I see Jessica Biel, Eric Balfour, Mike Vogel. I see R. Lee Ermey, people that I recognize. It's like I'm constantly aware, that I'm watching I'm watching a movie where the remake and, they're like, I have a vivid imagination. So when I'm watching the original, it just feels too real to me and my imagination starts going and the original movie just scares me too much. So, I always thought that was interesting, but yeah, I do enjoy both of these movies and I'm glad to have them on nice, beautiful 4Ks. Like I said, especially the beginning, especially when it came out, that list, I believe it was last year, I want to say, when they released a list of movies from that Warner Brothers put out, that saying like the DVDs chances are we're going to be pretty prone to disc rot and they were going to start to dissolve and fall apart over time. And Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning DVD was on that list. So I really, really wanted to get a better, more up-to-date disc of this movie. And, Arrow answered my prayers, and I'm just super thrilled to have it. So, both of the Chainsaw Massacre remake Chainsaw Massacre movies, really happy to have them. And just really, really thrilled. So there we go. So number 9, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake duology, if that's a word. Number 8, this one here, this one is my number 8 because it's my absolute favorite werewolf movie of all time. Don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy, I do enjoy like The Howling and Silver Bullet and so on, Dog Soldiers. I enjoy a lot of werewolf movies. But, this one is my absolute favorite horror movie, and to have it in a nice hardbox collector's edition, I think you already know what I'm talking about. It is American Werewolf in London. Written and directed by John Landis, David Naughton, Griffin Dunn, Jenny Agutter. Great special effects by Rick Baker. This movie ended up forcing the Academy Awards to start having a category for best special effects. We got that now in the Academy Awards because of this movie. And, it's one of my, like I said, it is my all-time favorite werewolf movies. I love it. It's just, so good. And, to have a nice collector's edition of it, you got the box, you got a book here, you got there you go. Wonderful movie. Love it to death. You get the little collector cards in there. And it's just one of my absolute all-time favorite movies. I love the humor in it. I love the horror. I love the soundtrack. I love the special effects. To me, this movie just works. Like I said, there are plenty other werewolf movies that I do enjoy, but this one is just, king at the top of my list. And the fact that Arrow gave it so much love and so much, kindness, and, really gave us a great edition of it, loaded with all the bonus features you could possibly ever want. And, I'm just really, really happy. I think the only thing that, in my opinion, about the only thing that would be missing from it, just I really wish we could have gotten like a commentary track with John Landis and Rick Baker like they did for Schlock. That would have been fun to listen to. But I don't know. Maybe not, because I mean they were so in depth and thorough with the the interviews and the documentaries and stuff. They may not have added much more. They probably might have just regurgitated the same stuff they've said in the interviews and the the making of documentaries and stuff like that. So I don't know, who knows, but so number 8, my all-time favorite werewolf movie is American Werewolf in London, thanks to Arrow. Number 7, I just showed this off in a video recently, and similar to Life Force, Clive Barker's Nightbreed. We have the theatrical cut and the director's cut on 4K. All the bonus features imported over from the Scream Factory release, plus not new, but bonus features that were not on the Scream Factory release are also imported. But yeah, we do have there are some new bonus features on here, right? But anyway, so yeah. Another instance of I got the 4K from Scream Factory and I was just absolutely just disappointed with it. I don't mind the theatrical cut, don't get me wrong, but I just, I really, really wanted both cuts of the movie, on 4K, and, didn't get that with Scream Factory, and then Arrow said that they're going to put it out, and I was like, oh, cool. I was like, I have to wait and see. As soon as it came out, I was like, yeah, both cuts are on 4K, I'm going for it. So I'm not going to go too much in depth on this one because I just showed it off in a video recently. But I really do enjoy Nightbreed. Absolutely love this Clive Barker movie, and to have both cuts on 4K, just can't beat it. And the fact that Arrow really, really, understood the assignment and gave a really, +2. You got the nice hard box collector's edition of it. Really, like I said, understood the assignment and really gave this movie the loving care it deserves. And I'm just really, really happy to have this one. So for my number 7 is Nightbreed. Number 6, really thrilled that Arrow put this one out. Easily one of my all-time favorite John Carpenter movies. You already know it is In the Mouth of Madness. Another instance of I love the fact that they really, all those bonus features and stuff there, that they really, really, showed the love and care for this movie and just, really gave you a nice, beautiful edition of it with the hard box and everything. You got the poster, which I have hanging up on the wall over there, great John Carpenter movie, his love letter to H.P. Lovecraft. Just a wonderful, wonderful movie. I didn't think about that. I was like, Evil Dead Rise, that's one of my honorable mentions. I should have included that one, but I had some other ones. But that is definitely because, they took, because Warner Brothers put out the 4K and it was pretty much just bare bones, not much to it. And then Arrow took it and just churned out bonus features and gave it a great transfer and everything else. So Evil Dead Rise is definitely an honorable mention. But In the Mouth of Madness, love it. Great transfer. Really, really did a nice bang up job with this. And oh man, part of me wishes they could have done this with all of Carpenter's movies. I would love if. Probably never going to happen, but man, I would love if Arrow could do something like this with Big Trouble in Little China. How cool would that be? Or Assault on Precinct 13. Just amazing. Love it. Anyway, so yeah, my number 6 is In the Mouth of Madness. down to the top five now, and here we go. Another couple of movies because they're part of a franchise. These ones, I've loved these releases ever since I bought them, so much so that I've really, I'm not saying that the Ignite 4Ks are bad. I just really, just not really, just motivated to jump on those because I have these. I have both of the Reanimator movies, Animator, Bride of Reanimator, and just, man, these, I know they're Blu-ray. I know they're not 4K. I do know, I am aware that, the 4Ks do have some new bonus features and stuff. But man, these are just so gorgeous and so beautiful. And just, it really is making it difficult for me to want to upgrade when I'm just absolutely, just perfectly happy with having these, just, get like the graphic novel kind of version, and just, I mean, this, like this version of Reanimator, you got disc 1's unrated version, disc 2 is the integral version, comic book, just such a beautiful, beautiful set. I've had this for years. I do love the movie Reanimator. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't love it. It's not that I wouldn't want it on 4K, but just, like I said, just, with these editions, it's just really, really hard to want to upgrade. You know what I mean? And this one here, it's one of my prizes in my collection, and just really, really thrilled to have this one. Love that, great stuff, great, lots of bonus features and everything. And the second one is definitely, a sight to behold. I was damn lucky to get this because, I mean, I really had to, when this was announced, when this first went up for pre-order, man, these things were going like hotcakes. I really had to jump on the bandwagon fast to make sure I secured my copy, and I was so grateful that I was able to get it. And again, another comic book version. Did it for both movies. Bride of Reanimator, this movie is a lot of fun. Brian Usna is just going balls out with the imagination. And, just Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Abbott, just so much fun. And, just really, really, really fun movie. I guess, if the, I guess I could look at it. I guess if the, because I think one of these is a DVD, is it not? No. Blu-ray. No. Okay, no. Never mind. I thought one of these was like a DVD. I was like, I guess I could always get a standard 4K and just replace the DVD with the 4K, I guess. But anyway, yeah, just I love these editions, and I just find it really, really difficult to part with them. And they still look great. I know that they're Blu-ray. I know that they're not 4K, but they're just so beautiful, so well done. And they still, even for standard Blu-ray, they look beautiful. This one too. This one is a 4K restoration of the unrated and integral cuts. It's maybe not, but it's probably not too far to assume that, this one is as well. I forgot to show the back of the box. But yeah, just like I said, because I have this, it just really, really makes it hard for me to try to upgrade. So because these editions are just so gorgeous and beautiful, and I love them. So yeah, for my number 5 is my Reanimator movies. Number 4, this might seem a little bit different, a little bit of a detour, but yeah, I am going to go ahead and include it. Number 4, I love the fact that Arrow took the initiative, put out nice Blu-rays of these movies that like a lot of people don't really care about. But anyway, it is the George Romero Between Night and Dawn set. These were 3 movies that he made between Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. And 3 movies, with the exception of possibly The Crazies, 3 movies that a lot of people just, don't really care that much about. Like I said, The Crazies, that one definitely has its fans. Season of the Witch, I think is personally, I think is a very underrated Romero film. I've said it before many, many times that Romero always wished that he could have, if he could have remake one movie of his, he really wanted to redo Season of the Witch, and I wish he'd had the chance to do that. I would love to see what his take on it would have been, and see a more updated version of it by him. But I do think that the movie is very, very underrated. It's a good film. You know, the idea of, kind of a different take on witchcraft. The idea that, you have these suburban housewives that they're bored, they feel suffocated in their marriages and their family lives, and they're looking for some kind of an outlet. And, one woman wants to try drugs, another woman, has an affair and all this. And then our main character, she decides to dabble in witchcraft, as like an outlet, But, there's always vanilla, okay, gonna be on. I mean, I do appreciate that they gave it, I do appreciate that they went through the trouble. They gave it a release, because of George and everything else, so it is nice to have this movie for your George Romero collection, I think all three of these are Blu-ray and DVD releases, so I do appreciate the fact that they went through the trouble to, restore these movies as best as they could, and, give us these movies so that we could have them for our George Romero collection. Granted, I mean, even on the interview himself, Romero himself said he was not particularly thrilled with, sorry, there was a gnat. Even Romero himself said he was not particularly thrilled with the movie. It wasn't his project. It was just, hired to direct and just try to get something out that was different from horror, something different from Night of the Living Dead, but he really had no fond memories of it. And it really is not his best work. But I still appreciate, being able to have it and say that it is part of my George Romero collection. And, but also, too, if you're a fan of Night of the Living Dead, if you ever wonder what Judith Ridley looked like nude, here's a movie to watch. Sorry. And then the other two here, Season of the Witch. Like I said, I remember, I like this movie. It's not my favorite Romero movie, but I do like it. I don't hate it by any stretch. I remember, I do kind of miss it because I remember, like back in the day, you had the Thorn EMI VHS. We rented that. That was the first time I watched it. But then I remember when Anchor Bay did those great, clamshell VHSs, or they did the ones like the cardboard, it had the little flip open, and they did this one and they did the Crazies, So I remember those. But I do enjoy this movie. 4K restoration. I wonder how long it's going to be before we ever get a 4K of this. But so anyway, this one. There's always been this one's only 2K, so I don't know if they can do this one in 4K. But Season of the Witch, you never know when we may, the day may come we least expect it. All of a sudden, hey, Season of the Witch is getting a 4K. This one, the craziest, I'm actually surprised this doesn't have a 4K already. It is a 4K restoration. I'm surprised we don't have this one on 4K already. You think Arrow or somebody would have jumped on this one by now. But good movie. Really do enjoy the movie. I do enjoy the remake. I like, both the original and the remake, They both have kind of a different take on it, but still, great movie. Really enjoyed it. So yeah. But I mean, just like I said, like I would have loved if like Martin had been included in here as well. But I think that's Rubenstein. I think was the problem with that. And but like it would have been nice, but still to have these three in here. But just the fact that we have this, you can tell I've had this. Unfortunately, the box is kind of dinged up. I've had this for a long, long, long time. I pretty much ordered this, as soon as it was up to order. I jumped on this because I was like, it's George. How could you not want George in your movie collection? So yeah. But I am really, really happy to have this in my collection, and so There you go. So yeah, my number five is going to be no, this is my number four, isn't it? Yeah, my number four, is George Romero Between Night and Dawn collection. So just to have these, these classic Romero films, I had to include it. Number three, down to the top three. This one, obviously, I had to include. This one just came out. And it's my all-time favorite vampire movie. I think you guys already know where I'm going with this. But yeah, number three is going to be Salem's Lot. I love this movie. It's my all-time favorite vampire movie. I love this more than any vampire movie, except maybe for Martin. I love Martin with a passion. But Salem's Lot, love this movie. And I was just over the moon when I found out that Arrow was going to do a 4K of this. You get both cuts, the TV miniseries version and the theatrical trailer. You get some new bonus features. Really the only bonus feature in the past we had was on the Blu-ray. It was a commentary with Tobe Hooper. But, we get some extra stuff. We get some, interviews and whatnot. Another commentary. Or two commentaries, and just, location featurette and all that great stuff. And just the fact that they gave this movie so much love and care, and they gave it the beautiful big box. They didn't just do a standard like slip cover of it, and the 4K transfer, in my opinion, does look really good, really great, and like I said before, I would love it if, doing this, some of the stuff they can do with some of these 70s TV movies, like Duel. I'm looking at this right there on my shelf. But Salem's Lot, I would love if they could do something like this with, some other like 70s TV horror movies. I would love if they could do something like this with Helter Skelter, the 76 version with Steve Railsback, George DeCenzo, and Marilyn Burns. If they could do something like that with something like this with that, it'd be great. But yeah, just number three, my absolute favorite vampire movie. Love it to death. And to give it the beautiful big box 4K treatment and just give it so much love and care. I'm just absolutely over the moon that we got this, So yeah, thrilled to have it. So number three, Salem's Lot. Down to the final two. This one here, I absolutely adore. It's one of my all-time favorite pieces. And yeah, that is the Psycho collection. This is just the Psycho collection. It includes all four movies in the Psycho series with Anthony Perkins. Does not include the remake, but I'm not complaining about that. You're not going to hear me cry about it. But, to give this such a beautiful big box treatment, 4Ks of all four movies. That was the thing. I wasn't sure they could even do a 4K of Psycho 4, but to do 4Ks for all the movies, and then they turn around, they did a second set, which was only Psychos 2, 3, and 4, in case if you already had the first one on 4K. But, this really extensive, everything you could want of the four Psycho movies. I do enjoy all of them. I would probably have to say my least favorite would probably be Psycho 3. But even though that may be my least favorite, I still do love it. It's still a great movie. But yeah, here you go, like Psycho 4 on 4 or Psycho on 4K. I had the pleasure a little while back of going to a theater and seeing a late night screening of this on the big screen, and it's like I had always wanted that experience. I always wanted to go into a theater, sit down, and see a classic, old, black and white, classic Hollywood movie on the big screen in a theater, to have that experience, and I finally got to do that with Psycho. Very, very happy about that. So, of course, it includes all the bonus features from the Universal Edition and stuff. Then Psycho 2, great sequel. I know some people, I have heard, yeah, some people do actually prefer Psycho 2 over the original. And, it's a damn good movie, great movie. Tom Holland wrote a great script, made another great mystery out of it. You know, is it Norman doing the? I like that approach. I like that it was like they kind of followed a mystery up with another mystery because we find out in the first movie, the whole mystery is who's doing the killing, and then the second movie is like, wait a minute, there's a new series of killings, who's doing it, and some fun twists and turns, but really good. Anthony Perkins, solid in every single movie, never dropped a beat, wonderful actor. May he rest in peace. I'm sad that he's gone. Just a legend. Just a legend. I know here a little while ago when that that Ed Gein show came out, they tried to put all the focus on, the fact that he was gay. I don't give a fuck that he was gay. Pardon my language, but I don't give a fuck. The man was a talent. He was a great actor. He was a talented man. That's what I cared about. Just, this is what, that's what mattered. Just every time he did a movie, he was just the best. So may he rest in peace, Anthony Perkins. Love you, man. Psycho 3. Like I said, it still has a lot of elements to it that I do enjoy. Really enjoy this movie. So, Jeff Fahey, it's like, my brother always cracks up at that, watch the guitar, but still, really, really good flick. And then, I have to admit, I was, pleasantly surprised. I was going into this not expecting much, but yeah, really, really good job by Mick Garris. They brought back the original screenwriter, Joseph Stefano, to pen the script. And then going into the earlier stories, like, wow, Henry Thomas actually did a great job as a young Norman Bates. Olivia Hussey, may she rest in peace, did a great job playing the mom. Anthony Perkins, perfect as always, and just, I like the whole kind of, calling into the radio show and him kind of telling his story, going in and out of flashbacks. Mick Garris did a great job directing. Just a very, very solid movie. Just can't think of anything wrong with this movie. Really good. So yeah, definitely enjoy Psycho 4 the beginning, and just overall, just wow. Just a great set. The way it was done, obvious love and care to all 4 movies. Kind of a definitive way to own all of these movies, and I am just thrilled to own this set. I love the 4 movies. I'm thrilled to own this, and so yeah, that's why I ranked it my number 2. I just for them to put so much love and effort into one whole franchise, yeah, had to do it. So number 2, Psycho. I'm going to be surprised if you guys can't already. You probably already saw it. I'm going to be surprised if you guys can't figure out what my number 1 favorite is going to be. Just the work and love and effort that they put into this. My number 1 is going to be the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment set. Really beautiful set. The love and care that they put into these Hellraiser movies. You get the first 4 Hellraiser movies, and you get the box. My friend James, who I used to do body bags with, he got the Chatterer. I got Pinhead. Just great sturdy box. And my God, even the Scarlet box, even though that's just the first 3 movies, even that set, if you don't give a damn about Hellraiser 4, but you just want the first 3, if you can get the Scarlet box set, I say jump on it. If you can get it, get it. But just wonderful. Just so much love and everything that went into these movies. You could tell that they really do honor the Hellraiser films. And the inside, you got the skull there. So I'll put it back in just a minute. But here's the. Oh wait, there's my little Pinhead poster. Oh, we have such sights to show you. I am in hell, help me. So yeah, Now there is a more kind of standard streamlined version you can get of these online for a cheaper price. Yeah, these were very, very limited. It was one of those things like the minute, the minute that the pre-order went up, I had to jump on it immediately. Otherwise, I was going to lose out. Because yeah, this set sold out instantly. So I'm just really happy that I was able to get my hands on it. And I do enjoy the Hellraiser movies. Hellraiser 4, not my favorite one, but I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite. But I do like that they put in the extra cut of the movie, and just really loaded up on the bonus features. And all 4 movies look great. They sound great. There we go. I was like, kind of show this to you if I can. There we go. Come on. I was being stubborn. Don't want to go back in. Let's try the other way. See if that works better. Come on. That's the thing. I forgot. This fits on really, really snug. So I forgot about that. So put that back on and boom. There you go. But and then too, you got this one you got the hard book. Info about the movies. Just, absolute banger of a set. I don't think we're going to get anything of this caliber with the sequels, from 5 on. But I think most people are going to be pretty well satisfied with that. I'm sure, I know like my friends Glenn and Rob, they would probably be thrilled if, Arrow would put out something like this for, the Hellraiser movie that just came out a couple of years ago, kind of the Hellraiser reboot, and I wouldn't mind that either if they did it. I know, was it Turbine, I think it was, did the 4K Steelbook that came out here a little while back. But, yeah, kind of maybe do something a little more standard, a little bit more affordable for people to get their hands on. But anyway, so there you go. Yeah, my number 1 is definitely going to be the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment box set. Just really, really great addition. Definitely one of the treasures in my collection. I love it. Love the 4 movies. So happy to have it. So we're going to wrap things up. So, my number 1, Hellraiser Quartet of Torment. Number 2, Psycho Collection. 3, Salem's Lot. 4, the George Romero Between Night and Dawn set. 5, both Reanimator movies. 6, In the Mouth of Madness. 7, Nightbreed. 8, American Werewolf in London. 9, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake duology. And 10, Life Force. And that is, for the time being, you never know, things can change. But for right now, that is the top 10 of my favorite Arrow releases that I own. So that's going to pretty much do it. So if anybody took the time to watch all of this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I really hope you enjoyed the video. The length of my videos run too is like sometimes feels like watching a movie, doesn't it? If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please go and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Comment if you have anything you want to talk about or anything you want to discuss. Share the video. All that fun stuff you always hear the YouTubers say. And that's going to be it. So, I am going to do more of these. I do plan to work on like a Scream Factory and on Criterion and all that stuff. It's going to take some time, but I will get to them. So that's it. So take care, everybody. Have a good night. Love your movie library. I'll love you back. And I'll see you all later. Bye.